Here is the first point, Einstein, right? Need photon picture of light to explain the observation. Light comes in chunks, particle like of energy, photon, that's we have discussed, right? So this is the first assumption that we made, that light comes in the form of particle, that particle is known as photon. Second, then one photon can interact only with one electron. That means from metal surface, if one electron is coming out, that means that electron is getting an energy from one single photon, right? It takes the energy from one single photon, it comes out from the metal surface and comes in motion. Third point, photon energy depends on frequency of light. We know that we have seen the expression for photon energy, E is equal to h into nu, where nu is the frequency of radiation. So photon energy depends on frequency of light. For lower frequencies, photon energy not enough to remove a free electron, right? If the frequency of radiation is below the threshold frequency, then that frequency is not enough to get the electron out of the metal surface. That's it. So these are the 3 points we have made to explain this phenomena named as photoelectric effect. So here we are using some examples, daily life examples, just to make a picture very much clear to you what is happening if light rays or the light radiation striking the metal surface, what is happening inside, how that light radiation are interacting with the electrons and how they are responsible to get the electrons out from the metal surface, right? So here you need to imagine the light as a kicker, like you kick football, right? And when you kick football, you put some energy to the football, right? And all concentrated on one ball, right? That means at a time if you are kicking one football, that all energy is concentrated for that one football, right? And what will happen, that football will change its place and comes into motion. So that way, just imagine that light as a kicker, right? And that electron as a ball, right? That light is kicking the electron, right, to get it come out from the metal surface. Now let us see how it works. So just imagine this person is photon, right? This person is photon, okay? And this portion is of metal, and these are the electrons, right? And these electrons need to get out of this metal. Okay, what will happen? Photon will interact with this electron, right? Like the person kicking the football, okay? And then this electron will come out. Now, how many electron will come out, and out of them no electron will come out? Let's see. See. Okay. So as you have seen, there was the electron at this portion, okay? Person kick it, not person, photon kick it, and then that electron come out from the surface. Now, second, yeah, it is just at the surface, right? First electron was moving with some velocity, but here this electron just come out at the surface, but it doesn't come in motion. Okay, next. Oh, what happened to this electron? This electron neither come at the surface and nor in motion, nothing. So what is going on here? Let us discuss. We know that the position of each electron is different over here, right? And the position which need to be attained by each electron is also different. So obviously the energy requirement for each electron is also different. The first electron requires less energy to get out of the metal surface and to come in motion, then the second electron needed the higher energy to do so. So that's why it just came out and stopped at the surface, and the third electron couldn't come out at the surface as well, right. So this is the scenario. So the energy defines whether that electron will come out of the surface, whether that electron will come out and be in motion like that, okay, and that energy is dependent on frequency. That's why this result, photoelectric effect, is frequency dependent result. Okay. So here what we have observed is, if we give kick energy, right, kick energy to the ball, okay, that kick energy is utilized in two ways. First way is to what, to come out, right, to come out from the surface. Let me call this as E dash, okay, the energy to come out from the surface, and second is kinetic energy, that means to get that electron in motion, right. Okay. So how can you find the kinetic energy over here? This way, kinetic energy is equal to kick energy minus this E dash. Now we are making just the analogy of height and potential over here, that if some object need to attain certain height, obviously the energy should be mgh. So in the previous diagram we have seen that that height was h, so to attain that height the energy needed is mgh. So I can say that this kinetic energy is kick energy minus mgh. Okay, fine. So this way here you can define the Einstein photoelectric equation, right. How? Like, we know that we are providing energy h nu to each electron. We have just seen that one photon possesses an energy h nu, and that one photon is responsible to get one electron out of the surface and to make it into the motion, right. So one energy, that h nu energy of one photon, is responsible for giving the energy to one electron. So if that electron come out from the metal surface and comes in motion, two types of energy are involved. Okay. So this energy is nothing but kinetic energy plus that energy which is required to get the electron out of the metal surface. Let me call that energy as phi naught. This energy is known as work function. So here we have seen one more term, work function, right. You can see, you can compare this example here, okay, right. This kick energy is nothing but your h nu, right, because photon is giving the energy. This mgh will be your work function, right, and kinetic energy is kinetic energy, right. So how can you find the kinetic energy over here? Obviously the incident energy, which is kick energy, minus, in case of mgh we will write here work function phi naught. Okay. Now as we have seen that work function is responsible to get the electron come out from the surface, just to come out. It is not responsible to get the electron in motion. So which frequency is responsible to get the electron out of the surface? Threshold frequency. So in that case kinetic energy is 0, right. So for that condition I put kinetic energy as 0 and I put nu naught instead of nu, right, because the threshold frequency is responsible to get the electron out of the surface. So minus phi naught. Here you get a very interesting relation, that phi naught is equal to h nu naught, right. And when I put this relation over here, you will get kinetic energy is equal to h nu minus h nu naught. This is Einstein photoelectric equation. This can further be changed to h c by lambda minus h c by lambda naught. like nu naught is threshold frequency, lambda naught is threshold wavelength. You can compare that way, right. So, this is what Einstein photoelectric equation. Here also the steps are mentioned. This h nu energy is utilized phi naught and half mv square max. This is kinetic energy, right. So, phi is h nu naught and half mv square max. So, this thing and this thing, right. You can put half mv square v max square here instead of kinetic energy, because we know that the formula for kinetic energy is half mv square, and here we are considering the energy of the that electron which possess, which is highly energetic, right. We have discussed it before too, why we are considering that highly energetic electron, the electron which possess the maximum kinetic energy. About that electron we are talking about, because when we apply this concept to that electron, then obviously that concept is applicable to all the electrons, right. Like we have seen what is work function, right. Before that we have seen what is threshold frequency also. We have also seen that threshold frequency is different for different materials, right, different metals I mean. And we have seen dependency of work function with the threshold frequency this way, right. So, work function depends on threshold frequency, and threshold frequency is different for different type of metals. That means we can say that this work function is also different for different types of metals, right. Like here again we are using that same example in case of MgH and height. See, for the first example, sodium, right, that height is very small, this height is very small, right. So, to overcome this height, obviously the energy needed is small, but here platinum, this height is large. So, to overcome this height and to come out at the surface, the needed energy is very large, right. So, we can say that for the sodium there is small work function, because the need of energy is small, and we can say that in case of platinum there is large work function, because there is the need of larger energy to come out at the surface. Now, we will see the dependency of frequency of incident light with photoelectric current. Okay. So, for a fixed intensity of incident light, photoelectric current does not depend on the frequency of incident light, because the photoelectric current simply depends on the number of photoelectrons emitted, and in turn on the number of photons incident, and not on the energy of photons. Like we have seen that current depends only on the intensity, right. That means how many number of photons are getting strike to the number of electrons, and we have already assumed that one photon is responsible to get the one electron from the surface, right. So, number of electrons per unit time means current, right, and number of photons striking means intensity. So, current is in variation with intensity. So, it is independent on frequency. So, if we vary the frequency of incident radiation, that does not mean keeping the intensity constant, right, that does not mean the current will get changed, right. The saturation value of current will be the constant for all of those frequency with same intensity. Okay. So, let us see how the graph is. So, for a fixed intensity of incident light, photoelectric current increases and is saturated with increase in positive potential applied to the anode. That means here you can see for a fixed intensity this value, right, this value is same for both the frequencies of incident radiation, but you can see the potential, stopping potential is varied. Okay. So, like this is the stopping potential for frequency nu 2, and this is the stopping potential for frequency nu 1, right. And as you can see nu 2 is greater than nu 1, that means stopping potential for second frequency is greater than stopping potential for the first frequency. So, what the key point here which need to be learned is that the frequency is changing, that doesn't mean the saturated value of current is changed if we are keeping the intensity as constant, but yes, stopping potential will be changed, right? Higher the frequency, higher will be the stopping potential. However, the saturation current is same for different frequencies of the incident lights, that's we have concluded. When potential is decreased and taken below 0, photoelectric current decreases to 0, but at different stopping potentials for different frequencies, that's we have seen just now. So, higher the frequency, higher the stopping potential, that means stopping potential is directly proportional to frequency. Now, we are looking at the graph for or the dependency of stopping potential with frequency, and here we see that it is in direct variation, right, as the graph is again a straight line, but that graph does not passes through origin, right, it has an intercept over here. It shows that there is a minimum value of frequency called threshold frequency. We are repeatedly looking at these terms and studying about it, below which photoelectric emission is not possible, we know that. However high the intensity of incident light may be, it is independent of intensity, it depends on the nature of the metal emitting photoelectrons, right, because we know that metal to metal work function is different. Okay. So, obviously when I increase the frequency from 0, I will not get any current value, right, and after the threshold frequency, right, I will get the value like this, I will get the value of current, and same for potential too. So, this way we can explain this graph. These are some of the applications of photoelectric effect. Photoelectric effect is used in automatic fire alarm, burglar alarm, scanner, reproduction of sound in cinema, film, in paper industry, to locate flaws or holes in the finished goods, in astronomy, to determine opacity of solids and liquids, and there are other applications too. Automatic switching of street lights, to control the temperature of furnace, photometry, beauty meter to measure the fair complexion of the skin, light meter used in cinema industry to check the light, photoelectric sorting, photo counting, and meteorology. So, these are the various applications of photoelectric effect. You can go through them one by one.